All right, so we're going to jump into section 3.3. This section is really a review of a topic you spent quite a bit of time with in Algebra 1, and that is the slope formula. All right, so just as a quick review off to the side here, when we look at a slope formula, we're really trying to find the rate of change, all right, from one point, we'll call it x1 comma y1, to another point up here, we'll call it x2 comma y2. All right, so much like we did in the distance formula derivation, we're really curious about these two lengths here. How far over did we go and how far up did we go? All right, so to get the amount we went up, we're really doing the y2 value minus the y1 value. All right, so that's the rise, and that's y2 minus y1. Now, for the run, we're going to do the same thing but with the x values. So we're going to take the run as being x2 minus x1. All right, and our slope or rate of change is defined as rise over run, so how much the y changes by over how much the x changes by, which from our expression up here would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, and this formula gives us a slope between any 2 points at all. Now, when we look at this, all right, the problems that they ask us to do really focus in on using the slope formula, all right, to find the slope between 2 points. So we're going to start off and we're going to write the slope formula first, just so we start getting that memorized and refreshed in our brain. All right, so we've got m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so my points here are x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2. All right, so I'm going to start and grab the y2, which is the 8, minus the y1, which is 0, over the x2, which is negative 2, minus the x1, which is 0. All right, that gives me an 8 over negative 2, which is negative 4. All right, so the slope of the line through those 2 points would be negative 4. Now, if I jump to the next one, we're going to approach it very much the same way. So we're looking for y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, in this situation, I'll go ahead and label these x1, y1, x2, y2. So if I take y2 as negative 5, minus y1, which is negative 3, over x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is negative 2. All right, so that's going to be a negative 5 plus 3 over a 3 plus 2, all right, which is going to equal negative 2 over 5, so negative 2/5. And again, that's the slope of a line between those 2 points. Now, the next little group of problems that you'll see is talking about find the slope of each line. And what they did is they drew some lines here on the graph. It's really the same question, just starting with a graph. So it says AB. So I'm looking for my points A and B. So there's A. All right, and here's B. So my 2 points are negative 2, and 0, 4. So M equals the second y value minus the first y value over the second x minus the first x. That's going to be a 6 over 2, all right, which equals 3. All right, now the next one is CD. So I look for C. All right, C is right here. So that's a negative 2, 2. And then D is right here, which is a 0. Let's see if I can find that. Let's see, is that one labeled for us? All right, they're saying 0, negative 2 is the label. Yep, and there's the axis, so 0, negative 2. All right, sometimes on those graphs it's really hard to see where they put their x and y axis. On this one it even looks a little sneaky. The x-axis is right there. All right, watch for the arrows and the label, and then the y-axis is right here. All right, so now we're going to find our slope. So M equals second y minus first y over second x minus first x. Alright, and that's going to be negative 4 over 2. Alright, because that's minus a negative. And that's going to be negative 2. Alright, so that's really the first part of this section, is just a quick review of the slope formula and getting comfortable doing rise over run again. Now, the second section deals with slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. Alright, so with parallel and perpendicular lines, the big thing that we've got to keep in mind is that if two lines are parallel, they have the same slope. And if two lines are perpendicular, their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Alright, so we'll say line 1 and line 2. So if line 1 has a slope of 2 and line 2 has a slope of 2, alright, then we could say the lines are parallel. If line 1 has a slope of 2 and line 2 has a slope of negative 1/2, then we can say the lines are perpendicular. Alright, so opposite reciprocals, change the sign and flip it over, perpendicular. Alright, exactly the same, parallel. Alright, so when we look at these, a lot of times they're going to just ask you questions. Are these lines perpendicular, parallel, or neither? So this one starts with MN, which is these first 2 points. So I'm going to start by finding a slope there. So M equals 4 minus 3 over 2 minus 0, which is going to equal 1/2. Alright, then RS, so do these two. M equals 4 minus 1 over 8 minus 2, which is going to be 3 over 6, which is 1/2. Alright, so the two slopes are the same, so we can say MN is parallel to RS. Alright, given that information. Now, if I jump onto the next one, excuse me, we're going to go same approach, so we're going to find the slope of MN. Alright, so M equals 5 minus 3 over 0 minus negative 1. Alright, which is going to equal 2 over 1, or just 2. Alright, then we're going to go M of the other two. So M equals, we've got negative 1 minus 5. Or sorry, negative 1, my eyes jumped to the other. Apologize on that one. So negative 1 minus 1. So the y minus the y. Over the 6 minus 2, the x minus the x. Alright, that's going to be negative 2 over 4, which is negative 1/2. Alright, so when I look at this, we have 2, we have negative 1/2. So if I take 2 and I flip it over, I get a half. If I change the sign, it's negative 1. So these two are opposite reciprocals, alright, which means they're perpendicular. So on this one, we can say MN is perpendicular to RS. MN is perpendicular to RS. And that would be our conclusion there. Now, this next question asks us to graph a line. Asks us to, see if we can get back there. There we go. Graph a line that satisfies the given characteristics. So this one says passes through 6, 2. Alright, so I'll plot a point there with a slope of 4. So rise over run is 4 over 1. So up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, back 1. Alright, and I've got a line that meets those characteristics. Alright, in 6 it says a line that passes through 8, 5. Which is a point right up there in the upper right hand corner. And perpendicular to AG with those two values for A and G. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope of AG. Alright, so we'll take that, and we've got negative 2 minus 6 over negative 1 minus negative 5. Alright, that's going to be a negative 8 over 4, which equals a negative 2. Alright, so slope perpendicular, we'd flip that over and change the sign. So we'd end up at 1/2. So from here, rise over run, so up 1 over 2 takes us off the grid. Down 1, back 2. Down 1, back 2. And we can fill in the rest of the graph this way. And that gives us a line perpendicular to a line through those 2 points. Alright, I hope that helps. That takes you through the notes. That should set you up for tonight's homework, which is 3.3 homework in your Chapter 3 homework section of your OneNote notebook. Thanks.